we're live.
Hey everybody, welcome to Top to Bottom. I am Keenan, your host. I'm here with the lovely and wonderful Becc Holland. Becc, what are you doing this summer?
That's a checkmate. I'm moving to Paris.
Tell us all about it.
What's the deets?
I'm moving to Paris. That was a checkmate. I'm so impressed because he knows I hate pushing out personal details. I'm moving to Paris for the summer. I'm going to get a place there. I'm going to bounce back and forth. So I'm going to go out there and hang out with the Lempire squad. So I'm going there in late March to get a place. And I'm going to come back for like 3 weeks, a month. And then I'm going to spend the entire summer in Paris. So
you gonna miss me, Becc? You gonna miss me?
Well, I don't know. That's a self-diagnosis question.
Oh,
I don't know.
It's a self-prognosis question. Of course
there's gonna be a huge fight after the podcast. No.
So, well, I'm saying we'll wait and see. I can't quantify how much I'm gonna miss you.
I know you're gonna miss me. I already know it.
Based on the trend line, if the trend line stays consistent, yeah, I miss you every day.
Yes, exactly. All right. Before we get in the show, I want to welcome everybody. If you got comments, put them in there. I'm paying attention to them. I want this group to be more engaging. So with that, I turn it back over to the man.
Who else is joining in Paris? They can start by that. Who else is joining Paris? What is your perception of Paris? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What's your favorite part? Least favorite part?
Well, we were there last year. In about 2 months from now, we had a great time. So
did you
it doesn't
like
matter
it?
what everybody else thinks.
Scale of 1 to 10. Did you like it, Keenan? What was your favorite part?
The scooter. Yes, I like Paris. I've been there a couple times. My favorite part of Paris was scootering around with you. And my most memorable part of Paris was we went to the Rolex store.
Mm-hmm. Rolex store.
As the most memorable.
Oh my goodness.
Above
my pay grade. But anyways, we're on to our first segment of this podcast, which is Email Teardown. This is the segment where we tear down emails and messages that were sent to Becc and Keenan. So on to the first email. This one, the subject is, Jim, can we set up a call? Hi, Jim. I'm sure you agree with me that persistence is the key to success. The reason I'm insisting on this 15-minute call is that I believe your team can benefit from our software development services that will help you scale and digitally transform your business. To break the ice, I'd suggest onboarding our resource for a 3 days trial period to start your collaboration with us. This would allow you to see our engineers in action with minimum risks and no obligations. If you're busy or don't have an active need at this point, please let me know when I can circle back and I'll follow through. Otherwise, what would be the best way for me to get 15 minutes on your calendar next week? Best, Betty Walker, Senior Relationship Manager, from Virginia. And then at the very bottom, it says, if you do not wish to receive my emails, please reply with an unsub in the subject line. Keenan, what do you think about this?
Man, I'm going to let Becc do all of the nitty gritty that she does so well. But the part that jumped out at me the most, and I need every single salesperson listening to this call, pay close attention to this. She made a statement, a claim, and her claim was, I believe you can benefit from our services. Great. Based on what, Becky? Right? Like, based on what? Why do you believe I can benefit from our services? And at nowhere in the email does she explain why I could benefit from those services or what I could be experiencing inside my organization that I could be benefit from those experiences and why at all I should pay attention to it. So there's really nothing there. And the worst part is, the second part is, I just don't think she understands her ICP. Or a company, I don't even know how many of us there are now. How many of us there are? I don't know, 12, 8, 11, I don't know. There's about 10 of us, right? In one part of the business, we have our own developers. We have 3 full-time developers. Why would I need more?
Mm-hmm.
Why would I have to change it? So this woman is completely clueless. I think we're too small for what they do, because I know what those type of companies do. She hasn't recognized that. And then she didn't even give me a reason why I should know it. So there you go, Becc. It's all yours.
Well, first of all, I love watching Keenan's face when someone calls him Jim. Because it's just such subtle, quiet rage.
Yeah, that's a good choice of words. Quiet rage. Yeah.
Quiet rage. But oddly enough, the interesting thing is, you know what, Keenan, I am going to miss you for sure. Self-prognose for sure. Because the thing that I picked out about this email is the exact same thing. Is I highlighted the word believe and benefit. That I'm like, a benefit means it's a generic upside, not in relationship to something that I know about you or a metric. So the two benefits that I always see people hunker down on are save time, save money, more money, reduce time, reduce money, or waste, leaving revenue on the table. But specifically with the word believe in there, it's like, I don't care if you believe that. I don't believe that based on your email. Yes. So I see this as a sales technique all the time where someone will say like, no thanks or something, or they'll get mad back to an email. And people are pushing out on LinkedIn. They're like, you should say back, well, I wouldn't have reached out if I didn't truly believe, I know that we should, that you would find value in our service. And it's like, okay, first of all, that's not a good guy line. Second of all, it's a virtue signal if it is. Third of all, like, based on what? And if you did believe it based on that thing, lead with that thing. I believe, like, what caused your belief? You should respond to it, or I think you said it was her, it was Becky. By the way, Shannon is the equivalent of Brendan, female Brendan.
Oh, okay. I said
so I'm
Becky.
like, okay. I'm like, so based on what? Why do you believe that? Other than you just think that you're the answer to everyone. You're the answer to everyone's situation. What causes you to believe that? If not, it's just a sales technique. So I'm like, the same thing in the first line, of like, I'm sure that you'll agree with me that persistence is the key to success. I'm like, stop explaining to me your world.
Yep.
I don't care why you think that you should be persistent or why you think that it's a professional follow-up is a great thing. I'm like, I'm annoyed by it.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, man.
Being strict today, Becc.
I gave you I paid attention. I gave you a full 2.5 minutes too. I was like, I'm not stealing her thunder. She's too smart.
This thing like revved me up. Man, I'm so sad. That was a genuine, I need to shift the screen. I'm humbled. I'm humbled.
Would you like to finish your statement, Becc?
No. I don't want to now.
Well, on that note, in that case, we're on to our next segment, which is
Sales Mythology.
This is the segment where we demystify common myths in the sales industry. Okay, our first sales myth of today is you should only hire salespeople within your industry. Now, because we cut you off on the last segment, we'll let you go first, Becc. What do you think about this myth?
Min is just slaying his role. Well done, Min. Well done.
Thank you. But Becc, what do you think about this sales myth?
Man, what happened? What changed? What changed?
What changed was I was in timeout last week. Thank you to the wonderful Christian.
It's not my fault. I solved it. Okay. Oh. So you should only hire salespeople within your industry. Yeah. I don't believe that this is at the bedrock a myth. I believe that you should, to be an effective salesperson or to be an effective BDR, arguably to be an effective anything, the one quality you need to have above anything is accountability. Accountability to your outputs. So it's like if I'm accountable to my success and accountable most importantly to my failures, but both of those, it's going to make me successful. So the reason I do think this is somewhat a myth is I don't believe you should only hire college grads. I believe that there are people from different backgrounds that could have an insatiably level of high accountability that will make them successful. sometimes an industry changer is going to be your most accountable or most successful because of that accountability. I'll give you one example and then I'm going to pass. I am an industry changer. So I sold an HVAC, plumbing, lighting, heating, cooling for the first 9 years of my career. And then I transitioned out to the Bay Area. And I'm like, I don't know what SaaS even stands for. I don't know what this ecosystem is. I don't know what all of this tech is. And so I'm like, I'm an industry changer. So number one, I didn't have the background in selling it. But number two, because of that, I'm like, I need to learn. Like, I'm 30 and a BDR. It was my birthday, 30th birthday, and I was a BDR in one of the most expensive cities in the US. And so I'm like, I took it upon myself of like, I have to outlearn everyone and all of these things that they've learned. So I do believe it's a myth, because an industry changer or is someone who doesn't have industry expertise, if they have the accountability component, they're going to make it happen. And they're probably going to make it happen more than people that were in the box, set to date with the knowledge. Keenan, I'm going to pass to you now.
So I agree with what Beck's saying about accountability. You're not getting any pushback from me on that. But one of the things I've really been struggling with lately is there are a lot of people who have a lot of accountability. And the example I can use is professional sports. Professional sports is littered with people who just are under the line, who just may get a chance to go to spring training, may get a chance to try out. And these people have been working their ass off season, or playing in Canada, or playing in Europe, right? And they're as accountable as fuck.
Yeah.
But they just don't make the team because they lack the skills. So I agree with Becc here that accountability is critical, but I don't think it's the key piece as it relates to hiring someone for sales from a different industry. Anybody who thinks, or let me step back, and this is going to upset a lot of you managers and middle managers, especially boomers and late Gen X's, okay? If you are one of those people who fucking refuse to hire people who are not in your industry, you are fucking up royally. Because what people do not understand is that great salespeople can sell anything. It is literally, it doesn't matter. There's a word I want to come in and escape me. It doesn't matter what they're selling. They will learn your industry in about 90 days. And there's very few things that are that complex. It doesn't take them 90 days. Now, if you're talking about a medical device, okay, but still, they'll learn that shit in 120 days. Okay, they will learn. If you're a really, really, really good seller, you have amazing critical thinking skills. You have untapped curiosity. And so all of those skills apply to the acquisition of knowledge and how things work. So you go and you spend the extra 60 days it might take to get that person who didn't come from your industry to bring them up to speed to your industry, or you go find that asshat that's only an average salesperson with all the industry knowledge and watch what happens. That person with the industry knowledge starts here. Your person without industry knowledge starts here. And with about 6 months, they fucking cross. And that guy's off to the races. And that other person is just cruising along if they're doing anything at all. And I don't understand why fucking executives and sales leaders cannot get this through their head. Last thing I'll add, folks, I sell sales training. It's my organization and sales consulting. I've been doing this for 11 years now. I've worked with hundreds of companies, usually within days. Not years, not months, within days, I can outsell their own salespeople because I have an uncanny knack to dig into their business and see how their business affects their buyers and affects their marketplace. I'm like, oh, I got this. And away we go. So stop it. You are shrinking the valuable resources that you could leverage to build an all-star, best-of-breed, world-class team when you're so fucking narrow in your thinking they have to come from the same industry.
Can I add a piece to this?
Of course.
So I believe it's somewhat a little devil's advocate, but it's not.
You sure about that? Because you know I'm going to go.
Well, it's your point is still valid, but there's a little devil's advocate to this. What I think hiring from your industry should provide is industry expertise and expertise on the buyer. I sold to CFOs, and so I have a long 15, 20-year period of knowing CFOs, the ins and outs and blah, blah, blah. That's what it should provide. So if you're telling me like that's the marker, then I do think that you see an unbelievable value with someone who has industry expertise, meaning they have expertise in the buyer in the industry. But the reason your point's still valid is I don't see that. I don't see someone who has sold into CFOs for 15 years have expertise on a CFO, typically. I don't see them have expertise on the industry at large.
I would go a step further, though, at it, right? So I would agree with you, like affirmative action. All things being equal, if you have a badass seller and you have another badass seller, but one's in your industry and knows the CFO, take that one. But you're never going to get all things being equal.
Yeah. So the key piece to me is that they know their buyer. And so if they have been on that journey to know their buyer over the last 15 years, I do think they have an unbelievable head start. But I don't see that very often. I don't see people actually have an expertise in the actual buyer. So if they do have that, I think there's an insatiable amount of value. If they don't have that, which is typical, then I agree with you. Hire outside industry and it's just fine.
Find the best salesperson, people. And here's the other part. Find the best salesperson. But here, to your point, buyers aren't going to like what I say. I always say stuff people don't like. Most sales organizations don't know what a good salesperson looks like. They don't.
Right.
They don't have the proper criteria. Yep.
So let me ask you a question because we only have 2 minutes left. If I were to, so you have a high level of expertise in skiing. You're certified instructor. How long have you been skiing, Keenan?
25 years.
What level are you in terms of instructor level? Like what are the levels? You're level 2. How many levels?
By the way, to put in perspective, if they listen, they'll agree with this. I went skiing with an examiner this weekend. So there's level 2, level 3, then there's an examiner, and he examines people getting their level 3s and says if they did it or not. Mm-hmm. And to get that, he has to have his level 3 and examiner. And I was also skiing with a guy who's about to get his level 3. Mm-hmm. Right? Skied them both into the ground, and they'll admit it.
Yeah. So point being, if I were to start today, I have 0 skiing experience. I've skied twice. Once when I was 7.
Yeah.
Once when I was 23 and I wouldn't call it skiing. Let's just say there was whiskey involved.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's anything that I could do if I started today to match your level of expertise in skiing in the next year?
In skiing?
Skiing.
To match mine? No.
Match or exceed. No. Right. So that's why I think there is somewhat of value expert skier like you are. Meaning if they in years, then hiring nothing they can do to get that level of expertise.
Okay, here's where your thing breaks down.
Don't have the
wait. Here's where your thing breaks down, right? On the example I just used, I'm a all-mountain mogul skier. Okay. Someone else is a big mountain skier. Okay. If I'm going out looking to win a big mountain race, ideally I want to find that big mountain skier. But if I don't have that, I'll take the mogul skier. Right? So it's not just, you can't get skiing out of skiing. Skiing is the selling. It's what discipline within the skiing we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, we're over time.
Hey, you know what? That sales mythology felt like a challenge. Also, I think there's an echo somewhere here. Let me figure that out. Okay, I think
it's figured out. Hope everybody's enjoying this. Hey guys, if you're having fun, put in the comments if you're having fun, if you appreciate this, and also tag some people that you think should be listening. So in the comments, you gonna let me mark it, Becc, or you just want to start talking?
No, I say questions too. Put questions in the comments. Questions
in the comments and tag the people that should be watching this. Let's see if we can get this viewership up over 100.
Yeah, let's see if we also can get people to weigh in on whether I could ever be a good skier. Yes or no? Scale of 1 to 10. Self-diagnosis.
Everybody's turning the echo. Oh, for those of you listening, for all of us or just men? We'll see what they say in a minute. All right. Now we can hear you, man. You're gone now.
Men's gone.
Can you hear me?
Yes, no echo either.
Oh, okay, perfect. Well, on to our next segment, which is
Take it or leave it.
this is the segment where I
Oh
introduce.
yeah, echoes back.
Okay, let's see where it is. I think it's from Beck's microphone. Can you hear the echo anymore,
Nope.
Keenan?
I
Okay,
can't.
okay, then in that case, it's definitely Beck's microphone. I'm going to mute her until I'm finished with the introduction.
Okay.
But this is the segment where I introduce common sales tactics, and Keenan and Beck let us know whether they would take it or leave it. Okay, Beck, you're off of mute. But Keenan, you go
We're all
first.
echoing. All right, I go first. Let's go. What's it? What is it?
It is hiring two people at the same time. Take it or leave it.
Take it 100%. If you can afford it, take it. And I'm going to do a Beck here. Think of a four-quadrant matrix, okay? When you hire two people, you have 4 outcomes, okay? One is both people successful. That's 100% win, top right corner, okay? The next one is one of the two is successful. So that's a 50% success rate. The other one is the other person successful and not that one. That's another 50% success rate. And then finally, neither of them successful. That's 0. So basically, if there's a mathematician out there, I think that's a 66% chance that you're successful. When you hire one person, it goes to 50%. It's one or the other, and that's 2 single-threaded all the way.
What about you, Beck? What do you think? Take it or leave it?
I'm gonna take it.
Care to explain?
I for all the reasons Keenan said, I'm gonna take it. I think it causes camaraderie, and they can learn together and get going together. It's hard to be a single child. I'm not one, but
the next take it or leave it is salespeople creating their own content on social media. Beck, take it or leave it?
Leave it. I think it's a waste of time. I think it distracts from their job, and I think it confuses them that they're being successful and working when they're not actually working. And it's the fastest way to early dictate that you're going to be a lawyer when you're not at the age of 14, when you're not sure that you want to be a lawyer long term. So I'm a hard leave it.
Keenan, what do you think? Take it or leave it?
Oh, take it 100%. 100%. And the more I see the response rates to cold outreach, the more I realize that they need to be creating their own content. We expect everybody inside this organization to create their own content. We will start having them adding to the blog, and I'm not going to tolerate not. The response rates to outbound is shrinking and shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. Christian created an amazing post the other day that created massive exposure for him, for the organization, for people reaching out. And so this is like credit. Okay, you cannot expect to have credit when you need it. You need to build it. And I appreciate what Becc is saying, and this might surprise her, that I get why a lot of people don't, because you don't see the results of it early. But I know for fact that as Christian continues to do this, he will create his own inbound, which is his outbound. He owns that, right? His inbound becomes his outbound, and he will benefit from the effort. And I believe the return will be there.
Can I make it small redact?
Ooh, whoa.
Small redact. The only case that I think that you should be creating content is if you did it like Christian did it, which I see very few people do. It shouldn't just be a tweet or an opinion. His was like a long ebook. And I'm like, that, which you know this, is like Becc style content. I'm like, take it. Hard take it. But here's the thing. He's the only person I can think of who's done that. Mostly it's retweets, opinions, little facts and sayings. And I will also say, it might take a little wind out of your sails. Christian beforehand had, and I saw the post, he had 0 personal brand and market. People didn't know him. He didn't make tweets. He didn't make comments. He didn't make anything. He puts out that ebook, and all of a sudden, he had like 300 likes. He had like 200 likes on your repost, and all of a sudden, everyone's talking about it, and he had 0 personal brand. No one knew who he was, but when they saw that document, they're like, he is valuable. So if you're going to do it in that format, I'm going to take it. But that's the only format that I'm going to take it.
Okay, so with what she said, the point being is she's a take it on content. She just hasn't been told everybody that it's the shitty content where she's a leave it. And I've been arguing all along Those are two
Tweets.
separate conversations.
Tweets, opinions, posts. But if you do a long ebook with the 57 ways to do something, I'm like, you would need expertise, number one. And then I'm a hard take it. I'm like, then you're actually adding value. Like, in my opinion. I got horned twice. I got horned twice.
I still love you, Becc, and I'll miss you.
Do you miss me currently, or you're going to miss me? Is it current state or future state?
I'll miss you more knowing I can't just come see you if I want to.
Well, with that, we're on to our next segment, my personal favorite segment, which is
The Inbox.
This is the segment where Becc and Keenan answer questions from our audience. And to help with that is our trusty mailbox. Let's see what...
I think Keenan's got mail too. He's going to open up his tax returns.
Oh, no. No.
Well, we're getting on to our first question from the audience, which is from... actually, this person wanted his or her name to be redacted, but they're from San Antonio, Texas. My VP of sales, to be frank, was a nepotism hire. He's the CEO's nephew and doesn't know jack about sales.
Oh.
As senior director, I've been basically doing his role for him, and although the CEO understands my situation when I talk to him about it, he will do nothing about it, i.e. firing or demoting his nephew. All my CEO did as a response was giving me a 5% raise. What can I do other than leave? Becc, what do you have to say about this?
Well, my qualifying question would be, is this person blocking your decisions, meaning saying no to the things that you want to do, or is it just you have to do all the work? So if they're blocking all the decisions that you need to make, leave. You have to leave. That's like in my opinion. And I've had to do that before, and it's tough. But it's like they roll out a decision, they make you buy into it, and then they're like, it was their fault if it went right. It was your fault if it went wrong. It's their credit if it went right. Now, if they're not, I'm going to tell you the upside of doing the role for this person. You will acquire all the skills of what it's like to be a VP before being a VP. So in that process, I had to do all the work for the person. And all of a sudden, my next role, I could explain the 50 things that I did. I had to work with the marketing team, with the sales team, because I did their role for them. So I had acquired all of these skills in the meantime from doing all that work. It's not necessarily fun. You won't get credit for it. You won't get pay for it. But what it will credit you with is the skills of what it's like to do the actual role of a VP. So I would say my advice, and then I'll shift to Keenan, is instead of leaving, you said, what can I do other than leaving? It shift your perspective. What can I learn by being in this role experientially? Dig in there, learn all those skills, and the credit will come later, meaning you'll know what to do.
Keenan, what do you think about this?
That's why I love Becc on these calls, because I didn't think she was going to get there because it's complex, but she got there slightly different than I did. She said, what do I do? My first question was, why should you do anything? Mm-hmm. What's the problem? She really didn't describe the problem. She said the problem is that he's a nepotism hire, right? And she said she's talked to her boss and there's nothing you do, but he gave me a 5% raise. Why is he in that position a problem? This is why I wrote Gap Science, how my whole head works. You told me nothing. So to Beck's point, is the problem that he is executing strategies, initiatives, tactics, culture, methods that are in the antithesis to sales, and therefore the sales team is in trouble, and because of him, and you're getting the blame, or you can't fix it? That's a problem. And if that's the problem, then you go to the CEO, his uncle, and you say, dog, listen, I know he's your nephew. However, this decision caused this. This decision caused this. We are down 3% because of this. Great guy, but he's not listening to me. He doesn't know sales, and it's going the wrong way. I'll stay here, but you need to know that if this continues, this is going to be the impact to you, Mr. CEO. If none of that is happening and you just don't like the idea that he's the nephew and you're doing all the work, and it's organization's growing and everything's going great, but you're doing the work and he's getting the credit, that's your fucking ego. Let it go. Like, that's a gift. As Becc said, that's a gift.
It is. And I was mad about it at the time, but it really is. It's a gift. And it's like, what needs to shift is you. Like, what? It's unfair? It's like, well, life's unfair. You run into a lot of unfair things. What do you do with it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to go quickly. We only have 20 seconds, so I'll have a quick question.
All right, Becc, we each have 5 seconds. Don't fuck it up.
All right, okay, so this one, I'm going to even skip the wording. It's really just, hey, if you're meeting quota, you're going ahead of quota, and you're only making about 85K OTE, but you're offered an AE position where a lot of the AEs don't make quota, should you make the move?
Too much there.
Too much there. We got to take it to next time.
All right,
take it to next time.
All right, for sure. I'll give the full story next time of this person's question, but for the meantime, go ahead.
Men kind of got the horn. I think we all got the horn on that.
Yeah, I definitely should have horned myself.
The only reason I'm saying that is because I got it twice. Very cut and dry. I'm like, we all did, guys, right? And I'm like, no, it's just me.
Well, with that, we're on to our next segment, which is
the challenge.
Starbucks always does that. Is that not nice?
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I didn't have a nice day because I got horned twice.
Yeah, but you're here though. And people listening, I only saw one person tag somebody, and that's Kevin Chambers. So I think Kevin's going to be the only one. I'm going to give a shirt to Kevin here. Let's go, guys, folks. Tag people. Tag people.
Kevin's been commenting on our podcast. It's amazing.
Oh, amazing. Kevin. Oh, what's up, Kevin? Kevin's great.
Kevin's an involved dude.
Kevin is great.
Right now, we're on to the challenge, which is the segment where Keenan and Becc break down a challenging subject within the sales industry. And today's challenge is how to outsell your competition on the same deal. Keenan, why don't you start us off with this one?
I'm back. You girl's back.
All right. This is some complex shit, and I'm going to do my best to get it out in Keenan time, not Becc time. So here's the deal, all right? The only way that you can outsell your competition properly is to have a better recommendation or solution for their unique, customized problem or set of problems and the desired outcomes they specifically are trying to attain. So the only way you can do that is have a better understanding of the size of the problem, okay, in totality, then to have a better understanding of all of the root causes or impacts of that problem. What is causing it? And I mean all of it. I mean at the deepest of layers. What is the root cause of the root cause of the root cause? Okay? You need to know all of that. You need to know all of the problems and the size of the problem. Then you don't need to know the impact to the organization by not changing that. And then finally, you have to understand where they're going and why they want to go there. And if you don't know all of that stuff, you can't compete. And what's going to happen is you're going to get into a feature. I don't have a feature to feature comparison. My book is bigger. Well, my book is easy to carry around. Why my book's more appealing? Well, my book talks about life. Well, mine talks about sales. Mm-hmm. And that's all you do. And the buyer will have to sit there and figure out which one of those is more important to me. Talking about sales or talking about life? Talk one that I can put in my pocket or one that I have to carry in my arm. And they will decide, and it may or may not be what exactly they need to deliver on their outcome and solve the problem. So it's not about your product. It's not about the features and functions. It's not about the price. And that's all the stuff most of you are going to want to talk about. It's about none of that. The way to simplify and pass on to the lovely Becc. The winner, the way to compete and win against your competition is to actually know 10 times more about your buyer's current buying environment and the problems they're trying to solve and where they're trying to go. He who knows the most wins.
Becc, it's on to you. What do you think?
Now you're mad you follow me now, huh, Becc?
Not mad. Not mad at all. I would never be mad about excellence, Keenan.
Oh, thank you, baby.
was that face, huh?
So I'm being a kiss ass. That's why I said.
You're a good one.
Oh my God. Thanks.
Yeah.
Feels like a nag. Feels like a nag. So to Keenan's point, I think where people, the buyer's going to buy based on their assurance that you can solve the problem. So how people optimize for that is they're like, well, I should just talk well about my solution, or I should talk about all the benefits, or how it's better than competitors, and all of that. But a lot of someone solving a problem doesn't come down to the tool. It's how they use the tool and what conditions they use the tool, and what's the deployment of that to achieve the ultimate outcome. So instead of talking all about your product, and like they talk well about your product, you talk well about your product, and Keenan's point, you go back and forth. My assurance in you that you can help me solve my problem is going to be predicated on the fact that I believe that you know more than me. You know more than me about my problem. You know more than me about my root cause. You know more than me about impacts. Impacts that I do. The first step to that, to Keenan's point, is to define the problem that they know about. The second bucket to go into, though, is to go into all of the things that they don't know about. So I imagine sellers that they're like, how do I influence the deal? And they're like, okay, I talk well about my product, whatever. And I'm like, if you're only talking about the problem that they know about, maybe the problem is the size of the United States, but in most cases, they only see the problem of Oklahoma. So it's like, you're not widening the problem, you're widening their perspective of the problem, because they're only going to think the problem is as big as they know about. So if you find a future impact that's Pennsylvania, wherever that is, sorry, or you find a current impact that's California, or you find a root cause that they didn't know exist, that's whatever, Nebraska, all of a sudden you've increased the size of the problem, increase the likelihood that they'll do something about it, increase the urgency, increase the size of the sale, and on a side note, increase their assurance in you and your product that you'll be able to solve the problem. Because I guarantee you 99.9% likelihood, after I read Gap and I had the pleasure of meeting Keenan, I was like, I saw things in a different way, that I'm like, oh, okay, 99.9% of sellers aren't going to find that information. They won't even know how to get to it. So your opportunity to sell competitively is to identify things that they don't know about. Sometimes it's a misdiagnosis. A lot of times it's a misdiagnosis entirely. And all of a sudden I start singing because I'm like, oh, this person knows way more than me. So they aren't even thinking about that other person anymore. So I'm like, to me, that is the fast way to do it, is don't assure them of the quality of your product. It's products to do what?
Gain their assurance.
Gain their assurance it's like as a side effect, as a side effect of being able to diagnose.
So this is either going to fall flat or it's going to make sense. But shout out to Will Aiken. I did a podcast with him, I think yesterday or the day before, right? And he shared that he's starting to smoke again, and for a whole bunch of issues, and he wants to stop. And somehow we did a role play on discovering and getting to problems on that. And he started with his whole thing. His problem was his health and its effect on his family and taking time out to go smoke a cigarette or whatever, right? And so I said, okay, that's good, but let me ask you a question. Does your wife like how you smell?
Mm-hmm.
And you could see his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
He never really thought about that. And he goes, yeah, my wife hates when I go out and smoke. And I said, I know that. I know that she hates that. And then he comes in, and then she asked me, I'm like, She goes, you got to stop. She doesn't like him smoke. But I said, but what about the smell?
Mm-hmm.
Does she like how you physically smell? And then from there, does that prevent her from getting closer to you, or the intimacy? She's like, oh, I don't want to kiss you. And he hadn't thought of those things.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it's that by itself is small, when tacked on to the other things, and by the way, that led me to another thing, which made him thinking that they could be arguing more than they need to argue. And now they're getting irritated with each other. And so now because of his smoking, not does she like how it makes him smell and the aura it puts around him, but they bicker more than they should bicker. He hadn't realized that they're bickering because of his smoking. And that, watch this. I said, marriage is already difficult enough, right? Yes. So what you're saying is your smoking has just added another layer of unnecessary shit to process through with your wife.
So let me ask you, I'll ask you a question in a second. Another thing you could think about is like, okay, is your wife a smoker? No,
Nope.
She's not a smoker. So
Nope.
It's like, oh, do you smoke inside? Do you go to bars where there's smoke? And you could go after the health risks to
Secondary
her.
smoke, yes. But he'd
To
already
her,
said he stays away from it. Yes, but yes,
The
but you can go there.
It could be another problem, like to your
Yep.
point of like the relationship and to her health. But a question I had, does he have kids?
Yes, little girl.
I could have asked him the question of like, hey, does your father smoke? Your mother smoke? If he says yes, and I'm like, okay, I'm launching into a line of questioning of understanding, did you know that you're 70% more likely to smoke if your parents did?
Because they
So
watch
it's like,
it.
yeah, like
That's
if
brilliant.
you're watching.
That's
et
brilliant.
cetera.
That's
So it's
brilliant.
like,
Yep.
so if he says, yes, my father smoked, then I'm like, so you likely contract. So now he's thinking about his kids of like,
Yes.
they're going to be smokers too.
And not,
If I
yes,
don't. To your point,
Yes,
you have
yes,
all three of
Emily.
those. Yeah, you
Yep.
have all three of those. It's a bigger problem than he ever thought because now his kids will smoke and now his wife's health could be impacted. To your point, his marriage. It was a third horn.
great. That's a great one, Beck. You took a whole nother route. That was brilliant.
Oh my god, I think I'm inducing trauma on Becc with this siren.
No, you're Pavlov dogging her, and she'll learn how to cut her great story short.
100%, 100%. Well, hey, we're on to our last segment of the podcast, which is the rants. This is the segment where Becc and Keenan give us their closing thoughts and share with us what's on their mind. Oh, who am I gonna pick first? I think I'm going. I think I'm going for Keenan today.
Yeah,
Keenan, what's your rant for the day?
I don't know if I ranted. I'm really on a kick on this. If I already ranted on this, you got to pull back. But I don't think I did. I was going to last week. But did I go on a rant on opportunity assessment and evaluation?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so my rant is this. I believe, and part of this is me falling on my sword because I haven't spent enough time really going as deep on this as I want to. So what you're going to get is a lot of the ideas running through my head, and you're going to get a thesis. And the thesis is this. One of the greatest untapped opportunities for sales growth within sales organizations today is opportunity management at the first level manager layer. It is atrocious. Managers have really no solid understanding or measurable quality criteria to assess what is a good opportunity in the pipeline now, not qualification opportunity to get it in, but once it's in, how do I know this is still a great opportunity? What criteria am I using? How am I engaging with salespeople to do it? What feedback am I giving the salesperson to actually improve the chance that deal closes as it moves through the sales cycle? We could go back into the history of sales and look what's out there. And we have people talking about closing, which is so archaic. I don't know what to do. Stop having sessions on that. I got another one, negotiation. If you do it right, there shouldn't even be a negotiation conversation, so get rid of that. Prospecting. Beck's nailed that. So people have been doing that for years, right? Prospecting with Becc and prospecting with Jeb and his book. And then you have all of these programs, whether it's Lavender, whether it's Sales Loft, whether it's Outreach, all this time, money, resources spent on the whole concept of prospecting. But there was almost no attention being paid to how you manage an opportunity and what is best of breed. How do you increase the probability of close? What the criteria should be, tools and methods and processes to provide feedback in both the synchronous and asynchronous process, etc. And so think about this. What is the greatest thing you can do to improve close rates?
Mm-hmm.
Better manage what's actually in the pipeline, and no one's touching it. No one's touching it. So that's a little bit of a leader. We're going to be touching it soon. But as leaders, you're fucking up and you're leaving a massive amount of money on the table because you're too focused on the end and the beginning, and you're not paying enough attention to what really matters in the meat.
What are some of the inputs that you're looking for an opportunity for it to be quote unquote real or not real? What are some of the criteria that you're looking for it to be quote unquote real or not real within the
so you know what's going to be from a gap selling perspective: size of the problem, full definition of the size of the problem, a full understanding of the physical and literal and all of the qualified, defined metrics of size of location, blah, 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 whatever it is. Also a description of the root causes, what is specifically causing these things, the root causes. Then the impact, what is the impact to the organization if they don't change, really defined and laid out. And then you move over to the future state side, and that includes what's their desired outcome, their new physical and literal, et cetera. And Scott, you got to do better than No Clear Futures, Sandler 101. No, I did not describe Sandler 101. And I'll let Becc jump on that because she has done a deep comparison between what I'm talking about and what Sandler does. And dog, no. In this environment, too many people misinterpret what I'm saying with garbage. I'm going so deep on this that people don't get it. But I'm done. That's my rant. Becc, it's on you.
To kind of bring it full circle, for your rant, then I'll go. I hear too many leaders getting reps to self-diagnose where their pipeline's at.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't need you to tell me a narrative of where they're at or blah, blah. I just need you, to Keenan's point, to put problem, root cause, impact, all of that into the CRM. And then I can tell you as the leader where your deal is at.
Yes.
I'm like, your expertise should be, do I believe that this deal is like plausible, all of that, based on the inserts that are in there. And if they don't have those inserts, then you simply believe nothing. Like based on, it's kind of like the first email guy. Believe it based on what? So I would go after those inserts. And once they have the inserts, if they have them put there, then you're like, okay, I can quantify whether I believe that this is a real deal or not as a leader, and do that for your reps. Okay, so my rant, I can either go on, Keenan, I'm going to have you pick quantifying impact or when someone will or won't decide to solve a problem.
Oh, by far. The second one, why they will or won't. Let's go. Let's get into the deep psychology.
So there's a difference to your question between a pain and a problem. Pain is just any negative experience.
That's Sandler all day long. Sandler all day long. Pain. I got pain in Sandler.
And a problem is something that you're going to solve or solve for. So all pains aren't problems, meaning all things that are annoying, I'm not going to solve. All things that are problems aren't painful yet. So the example that I'll give you is, and sorry to, this is detailed day for Becc, is I constantly in the shower, there would be a little bit of water at the end, like inch and a half. And I was like, this is really annoying. Probably need to see a plumber. All of a sudden, a few months ago, I saw it increase. Then I'm like, all of a sudden, there is a lot of water in the tub by the end of the shower. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is gonna overflow. So it was a big pain, but I could still take showers. Meaning I just sped up my showers a little bit and I was fine. It'd get near the lip, but I would always make it.
That's a bath hour. Not even showering, that's a bath hour.
So it would get near the lip. It would be really deep, but it wouldn't quite hit the lip. 15, 20 minutes and I'm out of there. And so I'd still be okay.
That was depressing when you realize how much water you're actually wasting with a shower.
And I thought in my head for months, Becc, you should solve this. We should totally go call and get a plumber. We should, figure out what is going on and solve this. So it was a high pain, but it wasn't a problem because I noticed that over the last couple months, I haven't actually called a plumber. So high pain, but I couldn't not like I could still take a shower.
You didn't want to change. There was nothing to change.
Because I'm like, I'd have to call the plumber. They'd have to come during the day. You know, maybe they couldn't diagnose it correctly. Maybe they need another part, the cost of that. So even though it was a high pain, it did not become a problem because I could still take a shower. Now, if that water had risen so quickly that after 4 minutes, the shower's done, I would have immediately called a plumber because now I can't take a shower. But because I can still take a shower, I did not call anyone. So yesterday, I'm looking in the shower. I don't know why. I put my phone down. I ordered something to eat, put my phone down, and then I look in the shower, in the drain, and there's a sticker that had fallen off one of my shampoo bottles, and it was over the little thing down in the drain. And I'm like, oh, this is what's preventing that water from doing it. Lifted the sticker. So I solved the problem, but only because it was super easy, super quick, free, and right there.
Well, actually, you solved the root cause.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and water's fine now. So sellers, even if the pain's egregious, if they can still hit their metrics and they can still achieve those goals with the pain included, they will not solve for it unless it's super quick, super easy, right there, right then. And you are banking on that fact, the fact that you are the super quick, super cheap, super easy option that's just right there, right place, right time. Instead, you have to find the people that can't do something. That's when it's going to become a problem. There's pain everywhere. I'm still not going to solve for the water being 1.5 inches deep. So if you're a seller and you're thinking that pain is going to get you there, if they already knew about the pain, they haven't done something about it, very high likelihood that they're not going to start to do something about it with you. So go problem centric. Find the things that are worth solving, the things that are preventing them from being able to do something. That's my rant. That's it. One small sticker. I pulled it up and I'm like, damn you, discount shampoo, Walgreens. Sticker sitting in my drain.
Hey, well, that's our podcast for today.
Well, thank you everybody for listening. I'm Keenan.
And I'm Becc. See you next week.
You've been listening to Top to Bottom. Peace, y'all.